Y'all, it is my 1 year vanniversary with Big Becky, as I call her. So this time last year is when I made the move to go pick her up. It was a mission and it happened very quickly, but at a time that felt really right. And so this time last year, I went and picked up the van, came home, got settled with it, and I bought a camper van video and a camper van tour. And so I figured 1 year later, it would be good and cute and kind of funny to kind of reflect a little bit and go back and watch those videos, see how I am as a person, what my thinking was, how I felt about the whole situation, and kind of respond and react and reflect on it now, 1 year later, with the mindset that I have with the person that I am today. I don't believe that 1 year is a long time in hindsight, but to know that I am at the point that I am now with the van versus how it was a year ago, I feel like I've come a long way. It was a lot of hard work, and I had a lot of support along the way. And, 1 year ago, my thinking was, I'm gonna buy this van and I'm gonna clean it up and I'm gonna live in it and I'm gonna go on the road, right? Like, I thought it was gonna be that simple. I thought that I would just find one, be able to clean it up and just be gone. But while I do think that can happen for some people, depending on where you're located and the vans that are available for sale, that didn't happen for me. And I realized that after having filmed the van tour and when I started doing the deconstruction process, you can go and look at those videos later, but I found out very quickly that just cleaning it up and moving in wasn't going to be the move at all. So I digress, but I figured it would be fun to kind of go back in time, look at these videos that I made, and just reflect. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start off by watching the I bought a camper van video. I posted this to YouTube May 17th. Mind you, I bought the van May 14th, and the other video was posted shortly after. So I'm gonna start with I bought a camper van, and then we'll go from there. And I'm just gonna go with the flow. We'll see what happens. And yeah, so let's get into it. I'm going to skip a little bit into the video. So in my journal, I have an entry for March 6, 2018. And then I have the journey for van life, which is like these little drawings and like notes that I have. And then I have an entry for March 20th. So somewhere between the 6th and the 20th, I fell into the hole and couldn't get back out. So after that point, I spent the last year and a half watching videos about buying different vans, pros and cons of different vans, being in a car even, and like what that might be like, because I have a journal entry somewhere in here where I considered like spending this summer converting my car to be able to just car camp. Yeah, so at the time that I started looking into van life, got interested in it, and decided that it was something that I wanted to do, I was in grad school, okay? I was in a 2-year program getting my master's degree in art therapy. So I was so busy and so like stuck in this academic realm that my mind was like, okay, maybe I can't buy a camper van yet, but I can outfit my car, which is a Honda Accord, to go camping over the summer. And that was my first like van life idea that I had, and I was really set on it. But I think as time progressed and the more research I did into vans, buses, RV, how to build them out, I was like, I'm gonna go a little bit bigger, right? Go bigger, go home. That's kind of my thinking. And honestly, I know this about myself wholeheartedly. When I find something that I'm passionate about and I want to pursue, I have to pursue it. I can't let it go. I'm the type to fully commit. I'm a very loyal person. I will fully commit. So the fact that I fell into a YouTube hole about van life meant that I wasn't coming out of that hole until something van life related happened. So yeah. I happened to come across a Toyota, like a 1990 Toyota Winnebago Micro Warrior where I was based. Found that, went with a friend, and looked looked at that, and that was the moment where the whole van life thing was solidified for me. So yeah, I had found this beautiful Toyota camper. Like, you know the one. I'll insert a picture of an example. It was so overpriced for my budget, but I found it in the city that I was living in, and I was like, you know what? I gotta go see this, because this would be a really good opportunity for me to get a taste of this. So I get out of class or practicum or something, and I meet up with a friend. We go and see it, and this thing is huge. Like, I didn't realize that these camper vans, RVs, are huge, but it was just a big box on top of a car. But it gave me a sense of what I wanted and what I didn't want. But it was so funny. I'll let myself tell you the story here, but it was just so funny, like, that experience. It was like a precursor to what I know now in regards to older vehicles. Okay, so this is where I start talking about how I found the van that I have. Hopefully I'll be able to insert like the Craigslist ad, because I did take screenshots of it, but I didn't do it then, but I'll do it now. So I think it was Sunday morning. I'm on my phone on Craigslist. We're driving to wherever we're going, and I'm scrolling, and I show him, and I'm like, look how cute this van is. Like, it's in really good condition. It's really cute, blah, blah, blah. Love the colors. Like, it looks great on the inside, but it's overpriced. And mind you, I had been tracking this van for at least a month, because the ad had been up for a while. And so I'm like continually finding this van as I continually refresh the page or refresh the city that I'm looking in. And then I get back home, refresh the Craigslist page, and the price had dropped on that same van for $3,000. It dropped $3,000 below what it was already at. I was so shook, because mind you, I was showing people, I was out and about in public showing people, talking about it, and then I get home where I'm by myself, cool, calm, collected, getting ready to go to bed, refresh my Craigslist, because mind you, I was on Craigslist all day, every day, looking for a van. Refresh it, and I'm looking at the screen like, is this real? You know, like, 2 hours ago you said that you wanted $7,500 for your van, and now you asking for $4,500. Ma'am, I will be there tomorrow. That was my thinking. But at the same time, I was like, okay, you need to calm down. I was like, you need to calm down, because you, like, I don't know, I feel both sides of the situation. Like, on one hand, I'm super psyched, I'm ready to go, and I'm like, this is the one for me. But on the other hand, I'm doubting myself, I'm doubting the situation. I'm like, please calm down. You don't know if this is real. You don't know if this is the one for you. Like, how do you know? Blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe somebody's gonna get it before you. So, like, I'm going back and forth, but ultimately, I sleep on it, right? And then I hit my sister up the next day. And it was just so affirming. It was so affirming to be able to bust that mission and get home without a problem, and still have not had any problems. And so it's just been interesting, you know, that transition from talking about it and dreaming about it and showing them pictures and videos and like sending my dad and my mom different ads on Craigslist to see their opinion, to I just bought this vehicle. This is what I'm doing with my life right now. From talking about it and watching videos and doing research and doing this and that, like, it's all hypothetical, right? It's something that you're interested in, something that you want to do, but you have no experience with. Like, you're only dreaming and visualizing this. But that in itself is what is drawing this to reality. It took me 1.5 years to get to the point of falling in the YouTube hole, doing the research, deciding I want to do it, and then finding the van, to now 1 year later after having the van, and just how fast that transition was, because I truly knew that it was something that I was going to do, but it didn't become real until I gave that lady my money and we drove the van home, and I parked it in the cul-de-sac and it was there. Right? Like, I could peek through my window and it was there. I assume somebody called the cops on it, because it's a neighborhood. There are kids around. It's a big ass camper van that, like, people, there's stigma around it, you know, around living in a van and like weird shit. But so I guess somebody had called the sheriff. They came and put an abandoned vehicle slip on it, and essentially it said, like, if it's not moved, it'll be towed by the state, blah blah blah, whatever. And so I'm freaking out. I'm like, hold up, because is this a ticket? Is this like automatically saying that you guys are coming to get this vehicle, or what's going on? It's so funny because when I brought that van home, I parked it in the cul-de-sac, like away from our house, like in the area that wasn't in front of anybody else's house, but it was between two houses. And so nobody could really differentiate whose vehicle this was. And I mean, there are families that live all around us here. So I brought it home, parked it up, and then came inside and went about my business until the next day. And I don't blame them. There's families around here with kids that they are trying to protect. So, you know, some random vehicle just showing up in the cul-de-sac, that's not okay. But I just thought it was so funny that, you know, and I learned this later, but one of the neighbors was like, yeah, you know, you brought that home and nobody knew whose it was, and we just couldn't figure it out, and they called me, and then I called them, and they had been talking, and we were trying to figure out what you was doing. And so it's just so funny how all of the neighbors around the cul-de-sac and up and down the street were talking to each other about this vehicle, not realizing that it was ours. And then I can see back then and even now, like when I go outside to work on it, they're all like out there with their kids, but they're looking, and every now and then if we're in close proximity, they're like, oh, you've been working out here every day, getting in work, working hard, it's coming along. And I'm like, yes ma'am, yes sir, doing the best. So it's just really interesting how we went from them calling the cops on a weird camper van to being supportive but also nosy, but also like curious as to what is going on. And even some of the neighbors have expressed that they've watched videos and they know about what I'm doing and they've wanted to do it themselves, but they have a house, they have a family, their spouse works a job that can't be done remotely. And I'm like, listen, if you really want to do it, you can do it, but that's a conversation that you guys have to have together. There has to be some compromise, there has to be some sacrifices, there's gonna be a big shift for your family if it's something that you want to do, but it is possible. And I'll leave it at that. So it's just funny to see the transition. Yeah. But I'm going to switch over to the other video and watch a little bit of that. I don't want this video to be too long because I feel like I'll talk forever. I'm going to switch to the camper van tour so we can take a look at what this thing looked like beforehand. This is her. Wow. So it's really hot for So first off, it's so dark inside. Like I step inside, it's the middle of the day and it's so dark. Van looks now. I have no idea if I'm gonna keep her like this. Most likely not. Well, she's in great condition now and I could use her now. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did not know then what I know now, but absolutely not. There are some changes that I want to make just so that I'm more comfortable and so that I know what's behind the walls and how everything works and how to fix it so that in case of emergency, I know what the heck I'm doing rather than trying to play the guessing game for a van that's been built out and has been like this since 1994. Storage above the cab, so most of the cabinetry is the slide out. This is the door to the kitchen. Wow. And then when you first come in, this is the door to lead. I didn't realize how tight of a space it was at the time between the back of the passenger seat and the front of that bathroom stall. Like where you can get in from the door, the side door. Like that space is so small. And then when you first come in, the kitchen is tiny. The fridge is so big, and I'm sure the fridge that I have now is the same size, but so small. knowing how I am, I don't think I would have been able to live in that space the way it was. Say I bought the van and there were no cockroaches living in it, right? And there were no issues with it and it was clean and it was good. Even still, I don't think I would have been able to live comfortably in that space because it's so dark and so tight and the structures are so big and there's no room for movement. Granted, we're talking about living in a van, in a vehicle, so there's already going to be limited space. But hello again. Yesterday, my camera died in the middle of me talking. So we're just going to pick up where we left off. I think I was talking about the bathroom and the van being very small and cramped and dark and me not really liking that. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip forward so we can get through this video. I can watch the rest of it, then I can edit this and upload it and be done. So let's get into it. Has a dinette area with a lot of natural light. As you put the table down, there's a ledge in between both seats. So that table comes down and then there's a wood plank under this seat. So this right here comes out and then it's placed in the middle section and then you just move the cushions. I can't do this right now, but like so. So you'd move this cushion to the middle and all the other cushions to the middle and it would make a full size or almost, I might guess like a queen size bed. That bed is a king. Like the fact that the dinette goes down and then you like push everything together, it made a huge bed. Like the entire back half of the van was for the bed once you converted it. And when I got the van, it was my intention to save all of those cushion covers and essentially just rebuild the van the same way with the dinette seating and that long couch, but lessen the amount of structures that was in the front half. So taking away that bathroom structure, taking away that weird like side cabinet in the back. And I was like, I like this. Like it's comfortable. There's like a couch and a dining table. So it kind of has the feel of a house, even though it's in a small space. But then I was thinking about it, and despite me wanting to save materials and reuse materials, I was like, that's not as functional as I would want it to be. And I still plan on having bench seating that then converts to a full-size bed, but not in the setup that it is here. And I don't know if I'll be able to use the cushion covers at all, maybe for one or two, but I think the way that everything's going to be set up, like the sizing isn't going to be right. 5'10" space, 5'10", 11. And then it's taller up towards the front, so have a little bit more space up front, and then it kind of narrows down towards the back. And then when I get right to the roof AC, I kind of have to dunk to get in. So I was searching for a van that had a high top. And this is the thing that, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I'm looking for a van just like yours. I'm looking for a van. I've been looking. And the thing that I realize is that vans with high tops, high enough for you to stand in them that aren't sprinters, are hard to find. And then when you do find them, they're priced ridiculously. Granted, this van is 25, 26 years old. So my thinking buying this van was, it has a high top. It's already built out on the inside. This is going to be great. I'm just going to clean it and I'm good to go. Make it my own with some pillows and paint and, you know, accents, do a little bit of renovation, and then I'll be good to go. But I didn't realize that the condition underneath all of that was so bad and gross, and it required me to take everything out. Now I'm thankful that I did that, because now I have the opportunity to make it how I want and as safe as possible. And I know what I put underneath my walls. I know how I wired everything. I know where everything goes, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just the area that I'm in. You know, maybe it depends on your location. Maybe it depends on how much digging you actually do. Because knowing now how bad everything was underneath the surface, I wish I had spent more time during the day that I bought the van, actually looking underneath the seats and in the bathroom, and because I looked, but I don't think it registered in my brain that I was seeing things that could be considered red flags. I think I was just in the mindset that this is the one for me. I came down here to get it. I felt at peace and comfortable to make the decision, but at the same time, my eyes weren't open to really see what was underneath, like reading in between the lines. I didn't do that. And granted, like a lot of what the issues that I'm facing now and was facing when I was doing the deconstruction, like I wouldn't have been able to see them just by being inside the van. So it's like a give and take. Like I should have looked better, and it probably could have gotten the price taken down even more that I already like haggled, but at the same time I wouldn't have been able to see the extent to the damage without having torn everything out to begin. You understand? So I don't know. I go back and forth with that, but ultimately it's my van now. I'm 1 year into this. It's in much better condition now than it was when I bought it, and I am proud of myself for that. So with all that being said, if you're looking for a van now, do your research, really look into what you're trying to buy, and just know that if your van is old, that it's most likely going to have issues. Would I buy a metal van? Would I buy like a Sprinter van now? That's one thing that I've thought about, because my thing is, had I not bought this van and I wanted to buy a Sprinter van, it would have cost me much more money, and it would have taken me longer to go through the process. I had a budget for what I wanted to spend on a van, and a Sprinter van was not within that budget. There was a sacrifice there, but at the same time, maybe I needed the challenge. Maybe I needed this van to teach me everything that I've been learning thus far, and to develop the skill sets that I have thus far. Because if I had bought just a Sprinter van, which would have been a clean slate, I would have bought it and the build would have been done already. You know, I wouldn't have had to go through the process of tearing everything out and then building it back up. I would have just had to build everything up, and I wouldn't have learned everything I've learned thus far.
Knowing that this is safe to the max as far as like mold goes, because I have no idea what's behind this wall, I feel like I have to take it all down and then look for myself, see for myself so that I'm comfortable, and then come back and reconstruct it the way I want it. To be economical with the choices that I make, and intentional with what I'm doing here. So the first step was buying the van, and this is what this video is about. So I made that purchase. Now it's just time to get going.
So here we are 1 year later, after having bought that beast of a van, after having bought that beast of a van and totally gutting it, cleaning it, patching it up, getting a paint job. It's got the floors in it right now. So we've insulated the floors. We have the subfloor. The van now has ribs to support the walls once it goes up. There's a skylight that I put in. There's a max air fan that I put in. I have purchased the fridge, sink, faucet. I have a shower, bathtub situation for the bathroom. What else? I have all of the lights. I have all of the electrical components. So the solar panels are put up, but I still have to hook it up to the batteries and the charge controller and all of that. I have all of the little switches and plug-ins. I have wiring. I have insulation that I'm actually going to go start doing today. And I have so much more that I can't even think of, but it's all out in the garage. So we've come a long way. The van went from being totally built out in its original state to completely empty. And at that point in time, I felt like, what have I done? You know, like I could have gotten away with how it was, but I couldn't. And I will say, when it was completely empty, I felt stuck. Like I remember there being days of me being out in the van, like on the verge of crying, and I probably did cry, because I felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like it was such a huge task to take on that it would just be too much. And mind you, like I have great support, but on a day-to-day basis when I've been working on the van, the majority of the time it's just been me. But me on my own, it has been slow going. Some days I'm not in the mood to do it. I don't feel strong enough. Other days I feel like a badass and I could tackle it from here on out. Yesterday I went to Home Depot and bought a big old foam board, insulation and spray foam and wiring, and I was like in Home Depot holding all of this stuff with my mask on, dragging it through the store. Everybody's looking at me and I'm just like having a good old time giggling under my mask because I felt so good that I was able to go to the store by myself and know what I needed to get, drag it all to the register, and take it out to the truck on my own. Like, it just felt so good to have intention and a good mindset to go in the store, get what I needed, and know visually what I needed to do to put it all together in the van. And so now that I've come to a close with this reaction video, I'm going to go outside and start working on the van. I really appreciate all of you for supporting me through this, for sending me messages about how inspiring this has been, how interested you are in what I'm doing and why, and just for, I don't know, affirming the process of me making these videos in the first place. Because 1 year ago, I told myself I was going to make these videos for my own records because I love having documentation of what I'm doing at certain points in my life. So I figured making a video for myself 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line would be really helpful. I'm realizing that now it's becoming a point of interest for other people that also have seen, heard, and are interested in van life too. So with that, I'm out of here. See you in the next one. Boom. Thank you.